Hello, and I'm in the workshop getting my kit ready to go out on the moors. Now I'm going to be doing a couple nights out there, and my aim is to cross from the east side to the west side and, shall we say, do it in a fashion which allows me to stay reasonably close to the high ground itself. There may be occasions I may dip out of it and come back up onto the high ground, but my aim is to stay as true as I can to being on the high ground. I'm not looking to have any extreme weather tags to this particular hike, and indeed if it is really poor weather conditions, I will drop back down into a wood block to spend the night. I don't have any intention of making this as miserable a occasion or event for myself than it needs to be. Mind you, saying that, I've been trying to do this for a long time, and as with things with life, with small kids, you know, requirements to be available for shifts and selling hiking sticks and making them, and on top of that doing my surfing, nothing has come together to give me a period of time to do it. I have my wife and children and everybody all taken care of now, so this is going to allow me to go and pursue this. And yeah, I've got all my kit pretty much packed. I've got a few things to do, and then I shall be setting off, and it will be coming up to early evening. So I won't have long on the trail, and I will be seeking somewhere to, shall we say, get my head down and then start early in the morning tomorrow. Well, I'm out on the actual trail now. I'm at the start at the base of Caradon Hill. Now, there's a lot of wind. The rain has stopped for a moment, but I'm at the very start and I'm going to start pushing on, and I've got to try and make some good time because this is extremely late in the day. My first task is to climb that hill where that radio mast is and go out over to a little village called Minions. From there I shall pick my route. I'm becoming very time conscious now, and I really want to get a camp set up before dark and before the rain. Yeah, the wind is horrendous up here now. I'm just thankful there's no rain. I'm descending down into Minions, and from there I'm going to scout out my best plan of attack for this. Because like I said, I started late in the day and I've actually got to get a camp set up. So I shall probably pass through Minions village, up to the cheese ring, and from there I shall start thinking about where I'm going to camp for tonight. I'm just walking into the village and going past a village shop and tea room, well, two tea rooms, and the remnants of a pub that burnt down last year. But I've got a few moments to make my mind up whether I go up on cheese ring and get blasted by wind or take the lower track. Now that's everything that is Cornwall, an old engine house, and I think I'm going to brave the wind and go over the top of cheese ring, and I'm going to have to apologise for the wind noise, but it's absolutely blowing a gale. If you look at those trees, they're bending over. I'm on the old railway that used to take the quarried stone and mining material out and to become processed to go on its onward journey. But it's still windy here, but I'm getting some respite from the wind from the top of the hill. And this railway skirts right the way around the actual hill itself. But yeah, I'm trying to make this as pleasant as I can for myself. Yeah, getting from east to west is my main goal. And if it was better conditions, I would have tried to have stuck to the slightly higher ground. Looking back in the distance, you can see Caradon and the two masts, and you can just see the road on the right hand side by that bush where we came down after summiting it by coming up over through the moorland. We're now crossing this railway track, and you could look out to Sharp Tor. And the actual quarry and the cheese ring formation sitting on top. Ultimately, we're heading to the opposite side of Sharp Tor from here, and we've got to make our way there with a bit of good speed and haste actually. From here you can see how high we are. We have a serious amount of elevation here. Looking all the way down into the valleys. So that's Sharp Tor behind us, and I'm going to go up through the saddle and then come down the other side to where I'm going to set up camp for the night and give myself a couple hours just to have a coffee, sit down, rest my shoulders, because I've pushed on at a fair rate of knots to get here. Like I said, I started, shall we say, quite late in the evening. I can't remember exactly what time it was, but we'd had our tea anyway. So yeah, yet again another mistake I've made, but you know, I am where I am now and I've made some good progress. But there is a big hill to climb, so I can't slack off just yet. I've still got to push on through. Just looking over to the fields, you can see the new boundaries, but those very faint squarish lines, I think I've mentioned it before, are actually the very, very ancient field systems that go back many, many hundreds of years before the existence of those stone walls. Right, we're in the saddle of Sharp Tor and I've got some epic scenery behind me, but I've got to get down over this next hill into a valley and try and set up camp now. It looks like there is rain clouds on the horizon, and yeah, I just want to get set up and sit down with my coffee now. Right then, I finally got camp set up. I've just finished a cup of coffee, as in I've just finished making it. Yeah, I'm set up, and not a moment too soon really, because I haven't left the moors. I'm still in the high ground, but I'm in the lee of the wind in a very steep valley which has a lot of like old ancient oaks, hazels, ashes and trees like that. So it's providing me some relief from the wind, as you could probably hear on camera. But I'll just let you spin around and see exactly where I am and how I've set up. It's a really basic setup, and I'm using the features of the land here to provide me with a quick shelter. I've just come down that little bit of greenery there, skirting the side of this ancient stone wall here. Now in front of me you can see it drops away into the valley. There is a stream there, and as you can see I have a lot of boulders to contend with here, but this is my shelter for tonight. As you can see, I'm using the hedge. You know, it's as simple a shelter as you can put up. You know, I've just used the natural surroundings, just actually pegged it to the ground. I'm sheltered from the wind. I'm not going to get buffeted by the wind, and I'm out of the direction of any rain that would come. There's enough of an angle on that no rain would hold. It would just hit the grass there and run off down there. So that's my setup in there. it's just a that roll mat that's doubled up. I have a small tarp, I have a jungle sleeping bag, and I have a bivvy bag on top of that to give me that little bit more protection from any damp. I have a convenient little stone there to cook on and do all my admin. Obviously my bag can fit in there as well, and that blue bag has got my warm kit, which I'll put on pretty shortly because temperature's dropping. I'm beginning to lose light. You can just see that it's got that that kind of light where if you're out in an open field you'd probably have a 30-40 minutes more than I would in this wooded area due to the leaves and coverage. So I'm in a bit of a shall we say busy mode to get ready to get myself prepared for when I do lose light. So yeah, all I've done to cook up or boil some water, shall I say, was the double mess tin method, which the big one goes over the smaller one to help retain the heat, and it did the job. You know, it gave me a cup of coffee in reasonable time. Like I said, I'm not in any real hurry here, so yeah, it did it quite reasonably, and I've got a nice hot coffee. Like I said, you know, everything that I've brought here is simple. My only regret is that I'm carrying 7 litres of water. That is a lot of water to hump around, particularly on some of the terrain that you've seen me going over, which is some severe elevations. I don't trust the water up here, quite simply because I've been up here so much and so often, and the water streams have, or water courses, have dead sheep, lambs. I watch the cattle literally doing their business while they're stood in the water courses. It's not like Dartmoor here. Like I said, Dartmoor has a vast degree of open space with a lot more fresh springs and water courses coming out of it, which don't get the full contamination. It's more concentrated, Bodmin Moor. So, you know, people who have water filters may feel confident. Even if I had a water filter in the particular location that I'm here, due to the agricultural practices and the, shall we say, smaller, more condensed nature of this moor compared to Dartmoor, I would still suggest bringing your own water, but that's just my personal opinion. So I'm just going to get this a bit more tidied up because obviously, you know, I want it a bit more presentable and where I know things are and close to hand. But I'll just let you have a quick little look. I'm going to do myself another coffee in a minute. That'll be my final one. But taking you down here without tripping over the bungee. This is truly enchanting. And I always say it. You can quite easily see where the folklore and the legends come from down here in Cornwall. Even the trees have that special look that they could just come to life at any moment. And you tell me that you couldn't imagine that. Well, the midges have finally given up. They've gone to bed, and you know, like I said, you know, if you can bear with it, and you can push through the annoyance, there will come a point they will dissipate, and I've reached that point, and it's really pleasant now. I have got my warm kit on. I'm starting to feel, I mean, I've got a running top with another breathable t-shirt underneath. That's because it allows me, when I'm pushing hard, carrying a massive burden of all that water and weight, to sweat freely and for it to evaporate. But it still leaves you, when you know you've worked hard at that point, you know, when I'm now, shall we say, static, you can start to feel the chill where possibly you wouldn't have if you were just up here walking the dog. But yeah, I am looking forward to hitting the sack. As per usual, when you're out in these sort of like in the field conditions, shall I say, if I can use that term, you know, you never sleep in, but it's not going to be a fast get up and go for me. I'm going to take my time, have a coffee in the morning, enjoy the morning, shall I say, load up, and put it this way, if you go downhill, you've got to go uphill, and that's where I've got to go in the morning. I've got to head back uphill to make up the ground I lost to get out of the way of this wind. But I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Well, that was an uneventful night. I didn't sleep straight off the bat. I did eventually drift off. I woke at about 4 o'clock and the wind had stopped and the temperature had took a bit of a turn, and it was actually dropping quite fast. And at that point I thought myself, I kind of need to go toilet, but I thought I'd wear it out. But it got to about 5 o'clock and I thought, do you know what, I'm going to go toilet. And then I went, and I got back in my DOS bag, and I had a really nice sleep for about another hour. And I'm up now and I'm getting my stuff together. I've just had a coffee, a small bit of chocolate. I'm going to have a can of all day breakfast to set me up, because I've got a lot of hills to do today. But I'm not possibly going to hit the trail till about 8 o'clock, so I'm going to probably spend an hour and a half here just chilling and getting myself ready. I don't have to break camp, quite simply because I am in a really remote place. There's nobody here and nobody will come here. It's not like I don't live next to a big urban area here, and I would possibly suggest the farmer probably, or the landowner probably, only comes here once every couple years himself. So I'm pretty blessed in that way. So yeah, I'm going to finish up my coffee, have my breakfast, chill out, and then start thinking about hitting the trail again. Yeah, the one thing the camera's not picking up is there's a small amount of midges around already, actually, and I'm possibly putting that down to it's a little bit damp round here and it's kind of like shaded. Once I hit the track and start going up onto the high ground, I'll lose them. They don't like the wind, And unfortunately, I don't think I've lost the wind. I think there is still wind. I can see even in here the trees are actually gently swaying, nothing much, but once I hit the high ground I will hit wind. But yeah, it's looking really green and lush in here, and it's been nice to wake up to this. And I tell you what, it's a lot better waking up and enjoyable doing it this way than it is when you're in a paid occupation where everything is at 1,000 miles an hour and you have to rush. So you don't really get a chance to fully enjoy this. But yeah, this is really nice. Right, I'm ready to break camp. I'm all packed up. No trace that I've been left. But I'm very quickly going to show you a few little things here before I move on. And yet again, the wind has picked up, so I will document a few things along the way so you can get a flavour. But I'm not going to, video endless amounts of footage which is going to be battered by wind noise. So we'll see what we can get. But first off, I'll just show you these few things. When you look at these old oak trees, there's multiple types of moss and lichen growing on them, but they've also, because it provides like a kind of wet conditions, almost like a compost full of plants, you get different types of plants growing in it as well. So the trees themselves support various degrees of well, shall we say, micro environments on them. They create their own little environment, and you get plants growing on the trees. Obviously the vines and parasitic plants, that's a given, but it's just strange, well, not strange, but it's just nice to point out that the trees themselves become an ecosystem for other plants to live on. And just to prove that point, this one here has got ferns growing out of it all the way up through. So yeah, these trees provide an environment for other plants to thrive and live. That just goes to show how special these old kind of ancient woodlands are. While these may just look like stones, you can see that they've been worked on closer inspection. If you have a look at them, you can actually see drill holes coming down through there, and one in there in the moss, drill hole there. And if you have a look on the opposite one here, you can see the same channels. And the same goes for this one over here. You can see channels in there where they've drilled it, and I don't know if they wedged it to split the rocks or used dynamite, I'm not sure. But this would have possibly been in the 18th century, late 18th century, they were working this granite up here. But yeah, it's just one of those things, it's gone back to nature and in the environment, but ultimately you can see the hand of man was here. And as I walk up here to get back to my kit, there's enough little hidey holes there for a Cornish pixie to hide away. And I wouldn't have been surprised last night while I was asleep. They were probably looking at me thinking, what's this idiot doing out here? But yeah, it's a beautiful environment here. Just made it to Birator Quarry or Stoneworks, and as you can see, they're working granite here. Yet again, you can see how high we are, and I'm just going to head out of here now and make my way to Kilmartor. Right, here's Birator, the top of it, and you can see Kilmartor over there. It looks down onto 12 Man's Moor, and I'll swing you around again to see the other part of Birator. But we're going to skirt the edge of this, because there's a fair drop you've got to scrabble down on the opposite side, and I'm pretty heavy laden, so I'm going to skirt down by the hedgerow here and come round the back of Kilmore. But that is a pretty impressive sight, Kilmore. The locals don't seem that pleased to see me, and I've just crossed a bit of a dried up riverbed there, or stream, and you can see what I mean about the volume of cattle out here, and they're pretty much all concentrated around that stream. So, you know, I possibly, like I said, wouldn't advise taking water off this particular part of the moor. Yeah, in between the valley and the woodline in the extreme distance, it's Brown Willie, and that's where I'm making my way to, and finally over the top of Rail Tour. But yeah, it's just this wind, and if it wasn't for the wind I would try to achieve every tour, but I don't have the weather, wind, and there could be a lot more rain to come. So while I have my windows of opportunity, I'm making progress. Yeah, I would say foxes, possibly badgers, carrion crows, buzzards, they've all done their work here. There's a leg of a sheep there, or a lamb there, and if you follow it, it goes all the way down here, and you get to the point of where you come across the unlucky victim. It's just a trail of carnage really, but there it is, young sheep there. It was taken over there, and you can see the trail. Something's tried to drag it all the way here, and this is where it's been eaten. I'm actually having to consult a map at the minute because I'm making up a new route, a different one than I actually thought I was going to actually take. Now, I'm pretty much I think it's at Treewatha Tor, and that's just opposite Hawks Tor. Obviously I'm going to try and get to Small Coombe Downs, and then obviously try and get into Havana Woods, and then make my way through a public footpath back up the road to Jamaica Inn, then out on the moors. So I'm just taking a break on Treewatha Tor, and I'm going to get a cup of tea going, and I think there's a bit of drizzle coming, so I might get my stuff ready for all that, as in waterproofs, and I'm going to get off here and get back down on that bridleway. Wind's picked up again, and I've got open moorland across now, so that's not going to be easy. I've took a bearing on a compass because I want to hit another wood block, and it's probably just under a kilometre away of opened moorland I got to go across, but I want to hit a certain point in the other wood block where a track starts. If I miss it, it could mean more bushwhacking, and I think I've had a fair bit of that already today. Well, I made it to Havana wood block, and it is absolutely horrendous weather. The wind's got up, it's torrential rain. I had, even in underneath the actual shall we say pines and commercial logging trees, the wind and the rain is being pushed in. It's looking like this is for tomorrow as well. I'm possibly not going to complete this. I was hoping upon hope the weather would be with me, but like I said, I've put my shelter up, and I've been in here for like two and a half hours thinking, you know, might be a window of opportunity, but it's not working out. I've got my socks drying out there, so are my boots, and my Bergen is soaked through even though I've got the cover on, and I'm just sitting in my DOS bag keeping warm at the moment, but it's looking really gloomy, and you can see the rain on the outside of the tarp, and it's actually my waterproofs. You can see there. So I think it's probably, I'm not going to hang about and wait for this to clear, because like I said, Saturday I've got a commitment with the family, so I'm not going to have time to complete what I'm going to do. Yeah, like I say, the main aim was to cross the moor from east or west. It's you know, failed at pretty much the last leg really. I just need another day of reasonable weather just to get from here through a couple more footpaths, make my way onto the moor again, and cross the last bit past Brown Willie and Routor, but that will have to wait another day. I mean, I'm not here to wild camp in the rain. That's not my intention. The idea was to actually cross the moor, and obviously that meant staying out for a couple nights. But no, so I think that's end of play, and I'm still to do this or complete it. So a check at home, check here. The weather is going to stay pretty much like this, and it's not, for what I would gain now out of just pushing through, I'm not going to see anything. The mist is really heavy and thick, you can't see nothing, it's not enjoyable, everything is soaking wet. You know, and like I said at the beginning of this wasn't my aim to test my shall we say resolve in these conditions. I've done that as a younger man, but no, I think it's I'm going to have to give it another go at another time. Yeah, it was, I was taking a chance with this weather window, and it didn't pay off for me, but I'll take you out of this woodblock, just let you see what the conditions are like. So if you look up there and see those trees in the distance, they're obscured by the mist and rain, and as you can see, it's driving from left to right. Gate has just gone over, and this is what I'm facing, and it's not, you know, I wanted to enjoy this, not to, you know, test myself. And when I came across that last bit of open ground, when I had to do it by map and compass because you couldn't see, it really, you know, made me think, do I really want to be out here doing it like this? This is supposed to be me out enjoying a couple days, wild camping and pottering over the moors. So, like I said, I'll come back and do this. Yeah, but I was staying in underneath there. I've been under there for like 2.5, 3 hours, thinking, it's like dinner time, 12 o'clock, it's 3 o'clock now, and you know, I'm just going to be there all night and possibly all tomorrow morning, and I'm not really going to achieve much, and I don't want to be going out over the highest ground here if the weather should get even worse than it is already now. As you can see, if there's high winds, or shall we say adverse weather conditions, it really ain't worth risking being out in it. I mean, I'm long since gone past taking any risks. I'm 52 and I want to see a few more years yet. And I don't think I'm going to have to bother shutting the gate behind me. As you can see, that rain is driving sideways with the wind and the mist, and when it does come in patches, you can't see at all. It really does close in on you. So I think I've made the right decision. has already taken a few trees over, so if not to reassure myself, I'm doing the right thing. Another one just over there. Yeah, I've done the right thing. I certainly wouldn't want to be crossing high ground with it being like this. My path is blocked here as we have a multitude of trees that have gone over in succession, and that is not looking safe. Look at those about ready to come down. They're only just kept up, they're hanging into the other trees. Right, I've got to the main gate, and or one of the main gates out of Havana Woodland, and I'm awaiting my ride. It's absolutely peeing it down now. No, this wasn't going to. I've made the right call. I know I have, because if this is your bag, you crack on. But it's not mine. It's not mine, which is a shame, really, because I was really I really enjoyed that wild camp last night, and it was all feeling like it was coming together. But no, it has done what it kind of said it was going to do, and I just took a roll of the dice, and it hasn't worked out for me. Well, I'm back in the workshop where it all started. I've got a mountain of wet kit I'm sorting out. It's everywhere, and this is just one of those things I hate about these situations. I did actually state at the beginning of this video that I'm pretty much not looking to be out in extreme weather conditions. The weather reports I all had said possibly showers, not the level of rain and wind that we experienced. So those were the negatives. I could have possibly grit my teeth and bared it out, but it wouldn't have been enjoyable for me, and that was the whole point of this, to do it. I do have to complete this. It's one of my bucket list things that I want to do. I've pretty much, now I've done that little bit of section in the middle, I now have all those sections under my belt, shall we say. So you could say, I could walk away and say I've seen that whole bit of trail from east to west. That is true, but the point of it is I want to do it from east to west in you know, to its conclusion. So I've still got that to do, so it means me going back and doing a lot of those hills again. But it will be in better conditions and fair weather. I did have to practice my nav. I saw parts of the moor I haven't been to before. I had to reintroduce myself to carrying a lot of weight on my back, which I haven't done in many years. And on top of that, more importantly, I was doing some hardcore bushwhacking in several parts of that, which would be comparable to, you know, you wouldn't have been out of place if you was like somewhere in Canada going through the forests. It was just so tight, intermixed with small brambles and that. You couldn't crawl through, you couldn't walk through. You had to pick deer trails, beat it back down, try to squeeze through to make it to the fire road in the forestry to be able to continue. That was hard graft, hard going, and I'm not ashamed to say this, that that really was a moment where, you know, you did sort of like reach a level with your physical ability where it actually hurt. But I did it, and I got to the fire trail, and I made my way along it out onto the moors, and like I said, practiced my nav, and that was quite a reintroduction to having to rely on a map and compass when you cannot see where you're trying to get to due to the fog, mist and rain. That worked out, so I was pleased with all that. So there's a lot of positives, there's a few negatives. Like I say, I didn't complete the east to west. I thoroughly enjoyed that wild camp, and I cannot stress that enough. That's a beautiful place. It's quite enchanting. It has kind of like a little bit of a magical air about it there, and I love it there. So that was special to spend the night there. So all in all, I'm happy with what I done, and more importantly, I'm happy in my own mind that I know when to call it a day, so that I don't end up making it a gripe and a chore to do this sort of thing, rather than just call it a day. I will complete this, and it will be in better conditions. I will not even attempt it if there's any hint or sign. It will be blazing sunshine, and it will be t-shirts and shorts all the way. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and seen, you know, that you can actually get some success out of failure. And I'm sure that that's a slogan that could be printed on a t-shirt. But anyway, this is Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks. All the best, take care, and catch you out on the trail if it's good weather.